It's time to start absolutely pumping in BFD. So here's some tips to make every single boss easier and to increase your DPS or make it easier if you are struggling at all. For Baron Aquanus, grab a bubble before you engage the boss. This will increase your movement speed as you jump across the platforms and allow you to engage on the boss even quicker. If anyone gets the Baron bomb, just make sure they jump into the water because they'll knock literally everyone else off, interrupt their cast, and make them all have to move. But if you're ranged DPS, don't worry at all. Just sit in the water the entire time and continue pumping the boss. You have no issues whatsoever and you'll actually never have any downtime. For Gamora, there's a little secret, and that's that shaman tanks can literally tank this boss the entire time. You don't even have to worry about the Sunder armor, just one tank it and keep pumping. While the boss has his shield hub, he basically only takes magic damage, so use any sort of magic damage abilities you have to get extra damage out. Casters can pop the little bubbles to get some extra mana back, but it does damage them and everyone around them, and when the boss breaks his main shield, then he will do an AoE hitting for 700 damage and knocking back any melee. Just either take a step back or make sure you have full health to absorb this, and watch out for the threat drop right here, but right from there make sure you start burning the boss. Lady Severus is the easiest boss in here. She has an ad, just have an off tank this and literally ignore it the entire time. The biggest thing to do is make sure you're kicking her freezing arrow. If you do this, then no one will ever get frozen and you never actually have to move the boss. Just pump it down and enjoy your 99. Galah has a very low HP bar, but you need to down him 3 times, and as he's healing back up, he takes almost no damage. So the only thing that can wipe your group here is to make sure that you're not dodging the little murlocs that are moving around the room. It's a lot easier to either be in the middle of the room or to be behind one of the little eggs, which actually spawns the murlocs, because if you're there, you only have to watch for murlocs coming from one side. And the boss actually heals up to full and starts taking damage again before the murlocs are gone from the room. So make sure you're paying attention if you want to increase your DPS and start pumping the boss again as soon as he's at 100% HP. In phase 3, I would actually suggest completely ignoring the ads that spawn and burning the boss because his HP is so low. After killing Galah, make sure you turn into this opening and kill the ads here. That's because they will unlock the teleportation stone, and there is an invisible night elf right next to it that will help you repair if you ever have any wipes. Lish J is a gauntlet boss, so make sure you conserve your mana accordingly. There's 3 rooms in this fight. The first one is just Naga, make sure you're interrupting the healer. The second one, again, make sure you're interrupting the healer, ignore the murlocs until you're on the boss and passively cleave them down. Then the boss will spawn 3 totems in the exact same order every time. You can actually completely ignore the Molten totem and the Wind Fury totem, but as soon as he spawns the Lightning Shield totem, everyone needs to stop DPS and burn that down, or else you will actually kill yourself because all of the hits you do to the boss hit yourself for extra damage. So nuke this down and then burn the boss. Passive cleave can deal with all of the ads, and you can actually move away from any of the other totems. Teris is the hardest boss in phase 1, but once you understand it, it's extremely easy. The boss will sleep the 2 closest players to him and send them to the Shadow Realm. Once you're in the Shadow Realm, you have to nuke down the Night Elf mobs until they randomly spawn a portal, which allows you to exit that realm. These Night Elf mobs have incredible spell resistance, so if you don't have a lot of melee, make sure you always send 1 caster with 1 melee into the Shadow Realm at a time. So assign 1 caster to stand within the boss whenever it's their turn to be sent down next. This makes things a lot easier, and all you have to do as range is make sure that you're dodging the shadow crashes. The boss also has a chain lightning that gets harder for everyone it chains to, so make sure you're always kicking that cast. At 35%, the boss phases into phase 2. Now you can no longer kick to interrupt any of his casts, so make sure the range are spread out enough to not get hit by the chain lightning. He also does a Mind Blast on the tank that is actually an AoE, but if you're a melee DPS, you can actually step far enough away to max melee range to not get hit by this. So just S-key yourself to max melee range and you'll never take any damage. From there, you just need to burn the boss before he takes over the entire room, and make sure you magic dispel the debuff that goes out in phase 2 because it will absolutely kill people. Akamai, the last boss, is actually a pretty easy one. Have all of your DPS stack up right behind the boss and make sure you dodge the frontal whenever it goes out. Tanks can swap around 5 stacks, and when the new tank taunts it, the old tank needs to drop all of their stacks by running to one of the cleansing elementals and standing there until their stacks are gone. Soon after the stacks go away, the elemental will blow up, doing AoE damage and a knockback, and spawning some little ads, 1 ad for every single stack that the tank dropped. Just have the off tank pick these up and then stack them on top of the boss. Passive cleave should be able to take them down. Now 50% of the boss phases and takes almost no damage during the phase. This is when you want to be focusing on DPSing the ads. So if you can, have the second tank drop their stacks right before the phasing happens. If you don't want to do this, you can drop stacks during the phase and then pick up the ads with the boss as soon as he becomes active again, again, but the ideal way to have this is if you drop stacks right before the phase. So just move the boss on top of one of the cleansing elementals. It'll explode right as he starts taking no damage. In phase 2, it's actually easier to not drop stacks at all. So just have one tank take the boss until they die, and then have the second tank just pick them up and burn the boss down. If you have any issues with this, just have the first tank drop stacks once, maybe around 3 to 5 stacks, which will spawn one elemental that gets stronger for each stack that was put on the cleansing elemental. Ignore the Voidwalker and let the second tank just die, and have the main tank pick up the boss again, and the Voidwalker. You should be able to down the boss in this time. And there you have it, guys. This should make every single boss extremely easy, and it should make sure that you absolutely pump and do the most damage possible. If you want any more Season of Discovery tips or want to know some secret gold farming methods before they're revealed to the public, make sure to join the channel memberships or come and ask me questions over on Twitch. I'll see you guys all on the next one, and good luck out there.